Welcome back to another segment of Get Outside St. Tammany. My name is Will Afton and I work with the LSU Ag Center as an extension horticulturalist here in St. Tammany Parish. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about hummingbirds and how to attract them to your backyard. As soon as spring rolls around in March, we start to see these small little colorful birds flying around in the garden looking for flowers to feed on. And many people find enjoyment. We go buy hummingbird feeders. We mix up the nectar solution, and we add these feeders to our garden to attract more and more. They're very fun to watch. It's a very territorial bird, so very interesting to watch as they fly in and out your garden areas. But one thing that we can do as gardeners is to plant a diversity of flowers to attract these things. So hummingbirds are flying around sipping on the nectar producing in flowers, and that is their energy source. So those little tiny birds flapping those wings need a lot of energy to do so. So they visit a lot of flowers throughout the day. Just like butterflies, honeybees, all of our native bees, as they go from flower to flower, there's a possibility of them to exchange pollen with these flowers. So in essence, hummingbirds are yet another pollinator organism in the environment. But basically, just similar to butterfly gardening, how we're putting out, growing a lot of these nectar-producing flower plants, attracting hummingbirds is very similar. So we're looking for almost the same type of plant. But the one big difference in attracting hummingbirds is the shape of the flower. And this plant right back here, this firecracker plant, is a great example. When you think of a hummingbird, think of that long, narrow beak. The reason for that beak is to get down that flower tube and access those the nectar-producing organs. So you'll find that hummingbirds are naturally attracted to tubular-shaped flowers. So when you're out at the garden center looking for additions to the garden that may attract hummingbirds, look for these tubular-shaped flowers. There's many out there. We've brought a selection in here today just to kind of go over a few. And like I said earlier, this plant up top here, Russellia equisetiformis, this is Firecracker Plant. This is a tropical plant, so you will not find this stocked year-round. You're going to find it probably about mid to late spring when these nurseries start to bring in the tropical plants from Florida. But this guy blooms all season long. Now when it gets cold, you'll have a problem there. You'll need to either protect it or just treat it like an annual plant at that point. But it produces these coral-colored tubular flowers all season long, a great plant, and probably a top 10 plant to include in a hummingbird garden setting. Don't have any flowers on it, but Bignonia crossvine. Believe it or not, everybody in St. Tammany Parish has seen a Bignonia crossvine. A lot of times as we're driving down the road throughout the summertime, you'll see the big orange tubular flowers blooming in the pine trees, along wood lines, maybe up telephone poles. But this is actually a native plant that produces those hummingbird flowers that we all love and enjoy. It's a vining plant, so vines are always nice. You can get them to, you can attach them to a fence or maybe an arbor, or if you have a pergola feature in your backyard or patio, you can always plant some Bignonia crossvine to grow up that, provide some artistic interest there, but also produce these hummingbird flowers. Another native vine that produces long tubular-shaped flowers is this Quarry Honeysuckle. Don't have any blooms on it at the moment, but Quarry Honeysuckle produces very long, slender flowers. We're all familiar with honeysuckle flowers. We've, took them apart as kids to feed on that nectar. But as you know, they produce a lot of nectar, so it's a great butterfly plant. And then as you get a little closer to the lake, we start to grow these a little bit more tender plants, kind of like our firecracker plant we mentioned here. Bottle brush. Bottle brush trees are very popular in the garden. Some of the, some varieties actually get get some good size to them. This one here is what we call, it's a dwarf bottle brush. It's called Little John bottle brush. So usually, a good plant maybe 4 to 5 feet tall, as opposed to 15 to 20 feet tall. But bottle brush has these, the reason why they call it bottle brush, it's got these pipe cleaner-like flowers. So it's a tubular shaped flower, but it's very, very small. But you'll see those hummingbirds feed on that plant. And just to go through, I mean, they'll feed on any nectar producing plants. So we have, native yarrow, which is a native wildflower. We have this native monarda, which is another native plant that produces a lot of nectar. Society garlic. We have a variegated version over there that's almost about to bloom, but that's a very heat tolerant plant. Been seeing that a lot in downtown Covington, used in the mixed planters there. But it produces nectar in the flowers, so it'll attract hummingbirds. So all in all, make sure to include a bunch of nectar producing plants, but think of those tubular shaped flowers when you're shopping at the garden center for additions to the garden. If you have any more questions about hummingbird plants, or maybe where to help finding some plants, maybe even help identifying some plants in your garden, feel free to reach out to the LSU Ag Center. We're here to help you. You can visit our website, www.lsuagcenter.com. You can call the Extension office in St. Tammany Parish at 985-875-2635. And you can also reach out to the St. Tammany Master Gardener Group. Their website is www.stmastergardener.com. So with this information, I want you to get out there and I want you to include a couple of these plants and then sit back and enjoy the nature's entertainment.